Welcome back to a whole new week, everyone. I hope all of you out there have had a great, enjoyable, relaxing, celebratory, whatever kind of weekend you were hoping to have. And I hope you're super excited about the week that you're going into. I'm super excited because this week we're going to talk about being motivated and how to get motivated and how to stay motivated. Being motivated is a big part of my life. I consider myself a pretty highly motivated person to accomplish my goals. I'm very goal-driven. And today I'm going to talk to you about how that started. I haven't always been a goal-driven person. I'm going to talk to you exactly about how that started for me, what triggered me to be a motivated, kind of inspired person, and the difference it makes in my life. So welcome back to the Aha Moments, where every day I share the lessons I've learned in my work as a psychotherapist and in my life to inspire you to live your very best life. Of course, I'm your host, Elliott Connie, and here's how motivation started for me. I think like most people, I was just kind of living life. Life was just the thing. You just kind of live life. And where motivation showed up for me was in sports. So when I was 11 years old, I tried out for the local baseball league. I was 11 and I made the team, like the worst team in the whole league picked me. And I really wanted that team to be a winner. I could only play on that team until I was 13. So I was going to play for 2 seasons when I was 11 and 12. Well, at 11 years old, I did pretty good. I was a pretty good player. And in Massachusetts, the weather's not really great. So what all the kids want is they want to make the all-star team, the summer all-star team. Then you travel all throughout New England playing against other towns. And it's really a big deal. The weather's better. You play more games. Like that's the goal, is you want to make the all-star team. And I remember when I was 11, didn't make the all-star team, I went down to the field and I watched the all-star players play, and I knew that I was at least as good as them. And like next year, I'm going to make this team. And it was the first time, like as a 12-year-old, it was the first time I ever like set a goal that wasn't like, I want to get good grades so my parents will, give me a reward, or, it was the first time I've like set a goal that was like for me and personal to me. And when I was 12, I came back and I was the MVP of the league. I led the league in batting average, home runs, RBIs, and I took that team that just a couple years before was the worst team in the whole league. I took that team and turned them into the city champion, and we won town championship. And devastatingly, I did not make the all-star team for a second year in a row. And I remember feeling gutted. Oh man, even now, I'm 45 years old. I look back on that experience when I was 12, and it still bugs me. Like it still kind of chaps at me a bit. It still kind of burns me up, even now at the age of 45. And I can remember the season after that, I was 13. I said to myself, never again. I am never, ever going to miss a mark. I'm never going to make it easy for someone to take something away that I have justly earned. And it made me like start wanting to work so hard. I made the all-star team at 13, 14, 15. I made all the teams I tried out for thereafter. But more importantly than that, I carried that mindset into everything I do in every walk of life. Like I stay motivated because I remember how horrible it felt when I missed the mark. And I never want to miss the mark again. That is a huge driver in my life, even to this day, 30 plus years after that really difficult thing happened. I heard somebody say one time, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. And that's part of what drives me, is like always wanting to be prepared for whatever's about to come. Always wanting to be fully prepared and ready to go for whatever challenge is coming my way. Always wanting to be at my absolute very best as I pursue the challenges and goals that I have for myself in my life. It took so much in me to say, let's go. This feeling hurts and it stings, and I never want to have this happen again. So I'm going to give it everything I've got. I'm going to put everything I've got into this. That's how I've gone on to write the books I've written, accomplish the goals that I've had, because I am so focused and driven. So I want you to think, what's the greatest accomplishment you've had in your life? And where did you get the motivation to accomplish that great thing? I think having that conversation with yourself would be a really beneficial thing. So thank you so much for being here. I love you guys so much. I really appreciate it. Please hit that share button and share this podcast with your social media platforms. or even with one person in your personal life that you think could benefit from hearing this message today. And if you haven't done so already, please become a subscriber. You can do that at Apple, Simplecast, Spotify, wherever it is you enjoy listening to your podcast. I'd really, really appreciate it. You can also become a VIP listener and get bonus material, which includes extra episodes and transcriptions of each and every episode on Patreon. So please consider doing that. And I can't wait to see you tomorrow. I have always been someone that is very interested in motivation and resilience and what keeps people going when times get hard or times get difficult, or the road towards accomplishing your goal becomes challenging. And there's a movie that inspired me at a young age. And then I heard a story about the movie after the fact that it inspired me even more. And that's what I'm going to talk to you about today. So welcome back to the Aha Moments, where every day I share the lessons I've learned in my work as a psychotherapist and in my life to inspire you to live your very best life. Of course, I'm your host, Elliott Connie. And the movie I want to talk to you about today is the movie Rudy. Now, a lot of people remember this was a massive kind of cult following movie in the 90s about a guy named Rudy who had a dream of going to Notre Dame. And not just going to Notre Dame, but becoming a football player at Notre Dame. The problem was he wasn't a terribly great football player, wasn't great academically, and didn't come from a family of money. And the movie was about how he worked and worked and worked and pursued that goal/dream and made it come true. And in fact, triumphantly, he got onto the football team. He got onto the football field at his last game. And by the way, some of you guys don't know, the quarterback of that game was future Hall of Famer Joe Montana, who won multiple Super Bowls with the San Francisco 49ers. Rudy was this huge figure that worked so hard to accomplish his dream of becoming a Notre Dame student and ultimately a Notre Dame football player. And the dream culminated in this amazing success where he got a tackle and played in the final game of his college year. And it was a crazy inspirational movie and a crazy inspirational story. But the story of what happened after the movie, where the movie left off, what happened after that football game, is where I think the real Rudy becomes even more inspirational. So he was carried off the field and he was brought into the locker room. This is a total true story. Literally, this is the story that the real Rudy told. He was carried into the locker room and he was getting undressed, and the press were in the room and they're talking to people about the game that Notre Dame won. And one of the reporters asked, what's going on here? What is all this hubbub about this Rudy guy? He's not a star player. He's not an important player. He's not a starter. He's not one of the traditional people that you would associate with college football success. So, what is going on here? What is this huge to do about this player? So Rudy tells the story of how he was a walk-on and he made the team and all these things. And the reporter said to Rudy, that would make a great movie. And Rudy says that put the bug in his ear that he should make this a movie. So he spends the next years writing this movie, coming to LA, carrying the script under his arm for years, pushing and pushing and pushing until finally he met someone that could help him get this movie made after years. I'm going to be honest. When I first watched the movie Rudy when I was a kid back in the 90s, you just assume that some TV producer hears about the story and then they contact Rudy and says, hey, we want to make a movie about your life. And Rudy says, sure. But the truth is that's not how it works. What actually happened was Rudy got this idea that his life could become a movie based upon what happened in the locker room at the end of the game that made him famous. And he had to learn how to write a script. He had to go find someone in LA that would be willing to make this movie. Took him years to do it. Actual years to do it. And then finally it got done. And the lesson here is two things. Number one, if you want something bad enough, go after it. Pursue it. Understand it's going to be hard. Understand it's going to take time. Understand it's going to take a while. But go after it with all of the passion you have inside of you to get this dream to come true. Go after it with everything in you, everything possible, everything that you can do to make this thing happen. And the second thing is it's not luck. It's hard work. Hard work is the key ingredient to success, not luck. And I'll be honest, I once thought it was luck as well. I thought like you just have to be at the right place at the right time, and then the thing happens. And don't get me wrong, it doesn't hurt to be at the right place at the right time, but that's not it. It's hard work, sacrifice, patience, determination, the refusal to quit. If you refuse to quit, you can accomplish anything. And I don't think there's ever been a better example than Rudy. And that movie inspired me in my childhood. And to be honest, when I watch it to this day, it inspires me. So, quick question. What movie inspires you? I want you to think about that. I mean, some of the best movies in the world are the ones that inspire us to be and do great. So just think about that for a while. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for being here for the aha moments. If you wouldn't mind, please do me a favor and hit that share button and share this podcast on your social media platforms or with at least one person that you think could benefit from hearing this message today. And don't forget to become a subscriber. You can do that wherever it is you enjoy listening to your podcast. You can even become a VIP person by listening on Patreon, signing up to listen on Patreon. Or you can just sign up to listen to the podcast on Spotify, Simplecast, Apple, wherever it is you enjoy listening to podcasts. Thank you so much, and I can't wait to see you tomorrow. Motivation can be a funny thing because sometimes it eludes us. And it eludes us so much that we sometimes feel like being motivated is an impossibility. Like, how do you motivate yourself to get going, get moving, and do things that you don't want to do? How do you motivate yourself to overcome challenges that you don't want to face? That's what I'm going to talk about today, is how do you get yourself motivated when it's so difficult that it actually seems impossible? So welcome back to the Aha Moments, where every day I share the lessons I've learned in my work as a psychotherapist and in my life to inspire you to live your very best life. Of course, I'm your host, Elliott Connie, and motivation's a really tricky thing. In fact, I like to think about motivation as kind of like a construct that involves being inspired, being motivated, being triggered to do positive things, do hard things, be disciplined, all of those things. And sometimes life is so challenging and so difficult that it's hard for us to stay motivated. In fact, at times it's impossible, or we seem to feel like it's impossible. But I want to talk to you about the best way to stay motivated. And there's one answer to this. It is literally like the most important answer ever. Once you understand this, it helps you find motivation on those times where motivation is eluding you and seems impossible. And that is to focus on the outcome that you hope to achieve. You know, maybe the hardest time that I had experiencing being motivated was when I was working on my undergrad. It was a real struggle for me. I was having financial struggles in my life that were making it really hard for me to pay for school and buy the books. And it was leading to struggles with my grades because it's hard to get good grades if you can't buy the books for the classes that you're taking. And what I used to have to do was borrow people's books. I used to have to borrow people's books after they were done using them. So my friends would study, and they'd study till like midnight, and then I'd be like, hey, can I borrow that book? Someone that was taking the same class I was taking, but I had to study from like midnight to like 2 or 3 a.m. when they were done. And it was really, really hard. And I remember thinking like how impossible it was that I'm going to get this college degree when there were so many things in my way. Like there were so many barriers to me achieving this because of all of these struggles. But what kept me motivated was I wanted a college degree so bad. And I remember thinking about having a college degree and envisioning being at graduation. I wasn't even thinking about the career I wanted to go into. And at that time, I didn't realize I was going to be a psychotherapist. I didn't even think about going to graduate school. I was just so focused and obsessed with getting the college degree that it kept me continuously motivated. Like my eyes never got off of the idea of how important it was to graduate from college. And that kept me motivated throughout those really tough years where I had to do really hard things, where I had to do really almost embarrassing things. Like it was not an easy time for me to walk up to people taking my class or taking classes with me and ask if I can borrow their book because I couldn't afford it. In some cases, the only book that I could afford to buy, like sometimes books are in like their 3rd, 4th, 5th edition or whatever. And I would have to buy an earlier edition because it was cheaper if there was nobody in my class that I thought I could rely upon. And I would not get the previous editions, like the book I could afford, didn't have the newer information in it. So my studying had holes in it, and those holes led to, me getting wrong things on exams and in papers and things like that. But, when you are motivated and you continue to focus on the outcome, you find a way. You deal with the obstacles and you find a way to succeed. And that was everything to me at that stage of my life, and still is. What gets me through difficult things is an obsession with getting to the outcome that I'm trying to achieve. think about the outcome as like the most meaningful thing possible that you could have in relationship to accomplishing your goal. Because it's not just like, I want to be rich. It's like, I want to be able to have financial freedom or take care of my parents or whatever it is. Like, that's the outcome, the thing that is so deep inside your core and your heart that you are able to tap into it and stay motivated. That's what keeps me going. And that's what will keep you going too once you develop this skill. So I want you to spend a few minutes just thinking about what's the thing in your life, the outcome that if you were to achieve it, it would change everything. And then I want you to write it down. Thank you for being here today. I love you guys so much. Thanks for listening. Please hit that share button so you can share this podcast on your social media platforms, or even share it with one person that this message would make a difference for them. And don't forget to become a subscriber. You can do that anywhere you enjoy listening to your podcast. Apple, Spotify, Simplecast, any of those places. You can also become one of my VIP listeners at Patreon and get bonus episodes and transcriptions from each and every episode each week. Thank you for being here. Can't wait to see you guys tomorrow. Love y'all. The ability to get and stay motivated is one of the most important abilities you can have as you pursue meaningful goals in your life. No meaningful goal comes easily, so the ability to stay true to the process and stay motivated is important. And I'm going to talk to you about how I stay motivated and what keeps me going every single day. So welcome back to the Aha Moments, where every day I share the lessons I've learned in my work as a psychotherapist and in my life to inspire you to live your very best life. Of course, I'm your host, Elliott Connie, and today I want to talk to you about how I stay motivated and what keeps me going. People often talk about my work ethic, my energy level, the amount of sleep I get, or probably better stated, don't get. And they ask me, like, how do you stay so motivated? Well, I'm going to tell you, like, I grew up without a whole lot of resources. I mean, my mom did her best and those sorts of things. I love and appreciate everything my mom did for me and my brothers. I love and appreciate the role she played in my life, and I wouldn't be the man that I am today if not for that. But it was a struggle for a lot of my childhood. And I can remember being so depressed from being picked on, being so depressed from the issues I was having in my childhood and the way my father was treating me, that I wanted to die. Like, I genuinely wanted suicide. I genuinely wanted out. And I say this all the time. Like, it wasn't like I was so depressed I wanted out. It was just, I had accepted that this was my life. And as I looked out around, I saw other people got to live different lives. And I just thought, I don't want this one. And there's got to be a way to give it back. And the only way I could think to do it was suicide. And then I learned through the process of a conversation with my mother, actually, that when you have hope for a different future, you have a different experience. And that hope for a different future literally changed my life. I started hoping for things to be different in my future, and it made me excited to see if that future could become realized. It made me excited to see if that future could become my actual life. It made me excited. At a time where I had no excitement, at a time where I was beaten down, at a time where I was really struggling, it changed everything. And it made me want to help other people that were in difficult situations overcome them. And I thought the best way to do that was to go to counseling or go to graduate school to become a counselor. And I realized that all of these theories I was studying in graduate school, they weren't based on hope for a new future. They weren't based on change. They weren't based on hope. They were based on problem, symptomology, diagnosis. And I found this one type of therapy, solution-focused brief therapy, was based upon hope for a new future. And I got lit on fire because I wanted to make a difference in people's lives. And I wanted to train other people so that more clients could get access to this way of having conversations that create hope and excitement in people's lives who need hope and excitement quite desperately. To this day, that's what drives me. I think about that every single day. I think about that multiple times a day. I think about that every second of every day. I am constantly thinking about those people out there that are living a life and they don't realize how great it could be if you just focus on hope instead of pain, problems, and symptomology. That's what drives me. That's what gets me up every day. That's what keeps me up every day. That's what causes me to write the books I write. That's my internal focus. Like, that's what gets me going, is the knowledge that someone out there needs to help. to focus on their hoped for future and to believe in themselves and to believe they can have something happen tomorrow. And the most successful motivated people are people who stay in touch with what motivates them. It's always on their mind. It's always close to them. It's always something that they can see. They don't forget it. They don't put it to the side. They don't put it in their pocket. They don't hide it. It's just always accessible to them. And for me, that's the thing that was always accessible to me, because I will never forget how difficult it was to live every day in so much pain and turmoil. And not only do I never want to go back to that, I want to stop as many people as I possibly can from going through that. And that's what drives me. That's what pushes me. That's the gasoline in the tank of Elliott Connie. And what I want you to do is I want you to think about what drives you. What is the gasoline in your tank? What is the thing that keeps you motivated? Because again, the most productive, successful people keep that stuff close to them. It's never outside of their view. So think about, what is it that drives and motivates you so you can keep it a part of your life. So thanks for being here, everyone. I love you guys so much. Please, please, please click that share button and share this podcast on your social media platforms. I can't reach more people without your help, so please help me. Even if you're just going to share it with one person that you think can benefit from hearing this message today, I'd really appreciate your help. And don't forget to become a subscriber. You can do that at Apple, Spotify, Simplecast. And you can also become a VIP listener and get access to bonus episodes and transcriptions to each and every episode, each and every week. And you do that by signing up at Patreon. There's a link here to do that as well. Thank you so much for being here, everyone. Love you guys so much. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. Today, I'm going to get super personal. I'm going to share a little bit of my personal journey, my professional journey, and talk about the power and importance of being motivated and working on your goals continuously until they get accomplished. I'm going to talk about how important this process is and how it can completely change your life. So welcome back to the aha moments, where every day I share the lessons I've learned in my work as a psychotherapist and in my life to inspire you to live your very best life. Look, I'm not ashamed to admit it. I wasn't always a highly accomplished person. I wasn't always a highly motivated person. I wasn't always someone that worked tirelessly and diligently on the accomplishment of their goals. I struggled. I struggled significantly, and I struggled quite a bit. Life was hard. I was depressed. I was anxious. I had low self-esteem. But something changed at some point, and I wanted to be something. I wanted to be somebody, and I was really motivated to make a difference in this world. I really, really wanted to help people. I wanted to give people access to quality psychotherapy. I wanted to leave this world a better place. And that might seem like some sort of a hokey thing. That might seem like some sort of a whatever pipe dream, whatever, woo-woo thing. But it's real and it's true. And I remember being in graduate school, like so focused on wanting to make a difference in people's lives. And I thought about a private practice I would run and hoping to meet people that would be part of this therapy practice and other professionals who were like me that I would meet in graduate school. And I realized it wasn't going to be easy. I realized there are lots of hurdles in my way. I realized there are lots of challenges in my way. I realized there were lots of obstacles that I was going to have to overcome. And I sit here today, and it's going to sound like I'm bragging, but I'm not, I promise you. Like, I sit here today, and I'm just months away from the publication of my 5th book. I mean, I sit there and I look back, and I'm like, I can't believe I've written 5 books. I mean, there was once a time where to even, apply to graduate school was like a pipe dream. And now I have written 5 books. I sit here today and I think about, I have lectured in over 30 countries. I have lectured on every habited continent on the planet. I mean, that's crazy to me that I've traveled the world delivering the messages I'm passionate about related to solution-focused brief therapy, all on my mission and goal and purpose to help people get access to quality therapy and trying to make a difference in this world. I've done all of that while I have endured and fought tremendous levels of racism and even oppression in my field, but I did it. And I did it because I was motivated. I was unstoppable. When you are motivated, let me tell you what I think the definition of motivated is. If you have motivation to get from point A to point B, it doesn't matter what obstacles are in between those 2 points. You are going to not quit. You are going to find a way around. You are going to find a way through. You're going to find a way to persevere, because when you are motivated, it's like a commitment to yourself to not fail. It's like a commitment to yourself to not fall down. It's like a commitment to yourself that no matter how hard this road gets, no matter how difficult the pathway becomes, no matter how many obstacles you throw in my way, I'm going to figure out a way to persevere. I'm going to figure out a way to succeed. And I'm going to tell you, like, the secret to success is to not give up. The secret to success is to promise yourself that no matter how difficult things get, no matter how oppressive the pathway may seem, no matter how many adversaries you encounter, no matter how difficult the journey may be, I'm going to succeed. That's literally the secret, is to just be so motivated that you refuse to quit, regardless of consequence, regardless of uncomfort, regardless of pain. Be so motivated that you refuse to fall down without getting up. If you make yourself that commitment, which to me is the definition of motivation, I promise you, you will succeed. So what I want you to do, as you can hear my voice right now, I want you to step into your truth, step into your reality, and go pursue a goal with such a high level of motivation and commitment that you will not quit. If you can do that, I promise you will achieve the highest of heights. Listen, y'all, like, I really love you, so please do this, because I want you all to be successful. It really, really matters. Please share this podcast. You can do this by clicking the share link, or you can just share it with one person that you think could benefit from hearing this message. That would make a huge difference for me. You can also become a subscriber. You can do that at Apple, Simplecast, Spotify, anywhere you listen to your podcast. That would mean the world to me to have you as a subscriber. And you can also become a VIP listener. You can do that on Patreon, where you will get bonus episodes each and every week and downloads of all of the transcripts from each and every episode. So thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys being here. I love you all so much for listening to this podcast, and I cannot wait to see you on Monday.